All right, I got the transmission apart here. We got some cool parts that need to go in here.
Yeah.
So we're tearing it down right now, and we're gonna go from there. All right, one of the parts that'll be going in the transmission is this billet rear drum from JB Designs. These are known to crack, especially like around the splined area here, and this stops that from happening. This should last a good long time. My buddy Patrick's over here today helping me out. He's going to disassemble this OEM drum so that we can move some of the parts from it over to the new JB Designs drum. One of the other parts that's going in the transmission is this billet front clutch and piston from Kiggly Racing. If you know anything about DSMs, you know about Kiggly Racing. They're just a great company. They make so many important parts for us, and they're just great people over there. So we really appreciate them. We're going to put this part in the transmission as well. Just inspecting these planetaries here right now, and they all look like brand new. So I think we're good there. We'll take this out and take a look in there too. And that piece comes out of there, and that'll go in the new one up here. That's right. So we broke out the seal kit so that we could go ahead and replace the O-ring on this piston, and now it's been installed in the new billet drum. So that's going along pretty good at this point. We just have to put the clutches back in there, and that thing's ready. And next I'm working on this billet front drum from Kiggly. Read this thoroughly before attempting to assemble your new front clutch. So I'm about to pull this pump out again. I was getting ready to do the gears, which I thought were all accessible from outside the trans, like in these areas. There's like a thing you remove there, and I asked the experts, and they said that there's a gear down in here below the planetary. So this stuff has to come out and put that gear in, slap all this back in there. I think the rest of it's good. Everything tore out of there again. Plus I tore this thing out, which was down in there. And then took this end plate off and all the stuff that comes with there. And about to take this snap ring off and see if we can get the gear out. I have all the new gears right here. I'll have to figure out which one goes there. Got these new gears out and ready. This one's already got one of the bearings on it. But once we get this bearing off this gear, it goes right on top there. Little by little, getting it done. What we're looking at here is my OEM 2G front wheel drive pinion shaft. So this gets driven by one of the transfer gears across to this shaft, this gear that drives the differential. So a couple things are going on here. Number one, Kevin at Kiggly Racing made this up for me. He made this out of a front wheel drive pinion shaft and a center diff from an all-wheel drive transmission. You see, I need to put one of these gears on the end of the shaft, but this gear is part of the shaft, so you can't do that in a front-wheel drive. And in all-wheel drive, it has a center differential with this splined piece on the end that the gear goes on. It's interchangeable. So Kevin had to cut the pinion shaft. He had to cut down and turn down the center differential. You can see these were bolt holes. He had to make this spacer so it has like a bit of an interference fit. It's pressed together and then weave welded. He said some crazy engineer stuff, something about, needs to be 20 or 30 psi, I don't know, shear resistance or something like that. And he said that this is like 60. So this is going to be strong enough is what I'm trying to say. He did a great job on this for me. This is, actually, I was going to say there's two of these in the world, one in his car and one going in mine, but mine's actually different. You can see up here, my gear has those two little marks on it right there. And this one doesn't. It has one. So this is actually from a 3000 GT. So it has a bit taller gear. It's essentially a 4.0 ratio gear instead of a 437, I believe is what this is, 437. So it'll give me more top speed. It'll give me the strength of the billet gears on the end here. And it'll give me mile per hour. I'm going to be running those little 24.5-inch tires. I'm going to need it. So time to put this stuff in. Well, I decided to go ahead and put this bearing I had to get on this pinion shaft and drop that thing in, and I was kind of just test fitting it and just dropped right in there. You can see it meshing with the idler gear right there, and I just need to install the cover now. Now that I have the 3000 GT ring gear on my Quaife differential, I can install it in the trans, get this cover on here, and get ready to put the transmission in the car, which is really cool. You can see here I have the Kiggly billet aluminum diff cuff here too. Kiggly everything. Before I hoist this transmission up in here, I had to put this Kiggly Racing 2G to 1G trans adapter. It just holds together with a couple of nuts and bolts right here. And then there's some, what do you call these, countersunk little M10 bolts or M6 bolts that go in right here. Kind of like factory, but they're flush so that they stay out of this cavity and make plenty of room in there. So I'm going to Loctite those little things and stick them in there, tighten them up, and we'll be ready to hoist the transmission up in here. Converter's dropped in the transmission. Got to be careful doing that because it's got to set all the way in there. I'm honestly not even sure it's in there all the way right now. There's like 3 distinct clicks. I only heard 2. I'll keep fiddling with it till I'm comfortable that it's set in there properly. The flex plate is now installed, and we're ready to hoist that transmission up in there and bolt it up. All right, we're getting close here. The guys at Fat House Fab did some work to help make this easier to do. You can kind of see down here where they cut this away so that this, not this, but so that shifter right there has somewhere to go. They also did some work down there on the corner of the K-member where the differential housing part of the transmission hits it. It does still hit it though, so it's still causing a little bit of issue. We're just going to have to work it out. It's definitely not worse than it was before, that's for sure. And she's in. The motor mount installed. Got to do the trans cooler, which is going to get mounted on the floor under the passenger area. And I feel like this thing's really starting to come together. I got a list. I'm going down it and checking stuff off. That transmission installed now. We're getting somewhere. So that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. Check me out on Instagram. Joe Wrench is over there. and I'll see you next time.
Put cheese on it.